So we're going to take a look at statistics today. This part we are finishing the graphs today. We're looking at the final graph. We've done pie charts, we've done bar charts, we've done stem and leaf diagrams. So the last one that we're going to look at now is called histogram. So a histogram and a bar chart are very, very similar. The difference is a bar chart is used for categorical data and discrete numerical data. So most things are going to use a bar chart. There's only one specific thing that uses a histogram. So if you're talking about hair colours, you're using a bar chart. If you're talking about any kind of word answers, it's a bar chart. Any number answers where it's only specific numbers like shoe sizes, that's a bar chart. Whereas if you're talking about continuous data, you're talking about a histogram. So continuous data, what we're talking about there is anything that can be loads of decimal places or any number at all, that's going to be continuous. So examples of continuous then would be height, and foot size, stuff like that. So for a bar chart, the difference between the looks of these two is that a bar chart, the bars are spaced, so there's a little bit of space in between, whereas histograms, there's no spaces in between them. So that's how you'll recognise which is which. So if we're taking a look now, first thing we're going to do is reading a histogram. So you don't need to take this down, but what you can do is you can take down the heading histogram in your copy. You can take down the difference between them. So histogram is for continuous data, bar chart is for all of the types of data, and you can take down that a histogram has no spaces and a bar chart has spaces. So first thing I would notice from this is that, well, this definitely is a histogram because this has no spaces. So this means that this is continuous data. So if I take a look at the top thing, it says the Phase 9 Census School questionnaire contained the question, approximately how long do you spend on social networking sites each week? The histogram below illustrates the answers given by 100 students randomly selected for those who completed the survey. So if you're talking about time, you're talking about how long do you spend on a social networking site, so on Facebook or something along the lines of that. You would say half an hour, but you could say 32 minutes. You could have it on your phone, how much you actually looked at it. So it's continuous data because you could say any time between, we'll say, 0 and 300 minutes, or however many minutes is the longest amount of time that you could be on it. So if we look at this diagram, then we have the numbers going up the side, same as a bar chart. That's the number of students. So that I can see the first bar goes from 0 to 2 on the bottom, and that's the number of hours. So anybody who said any time between 0 hours and 2 hours, they go into that one, and that was 11. So 11 people said in between 0 and 2. So what we mean by in between there is you take the first one. So if they said 0, they go into this bar, but if they said 2, they go into the next bar. So basically that bar is all the way from 0 to 59, or an hour and 59 minutes and 59 seconds. Whereas if they said 2 hours, they go into the next bracket. So you take the number at the start. So if we take a look at the question here, it says use the data in the histogram to complete the frequency table. So we know frequency table is just the number that goes into each. And if you read the little note below, it says 2 to 4 means 2 hours or more, but less than 4. So that's what I was talking about a moment ago when I was saying that you include the number on the left side of the bar, but don't include the number on the right. So if we're looking at 2 to 4, the people in the 2 to 4 category is anyone who said 2 hours, 2 hours, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 3 hours, 3 hours, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, all the way up to 3 hours, 59 minutes and 59 seconds. So that means anybody who said anything after that, they go into the next category. So if I'm looking at this, all we're filling in is the number of students in each. So from 0 to 2, or from 0 to 1 hour, 59 minutes, you have 11 students, and you're reading the number of students going up on the vertical bar. So you would put an 11 in there. The next one then would be 2 to 24. So again, we know the note underneath says that means 2 hours or more, but less than 4 hours. So we take a read of that, and that says 31. And we pop our 31 in. 4 to 6, so that's someone who said 4 hours or more, but less than 6 hours. And that number is 18. Our 6 to 8 was 13. Our 8 to 10 was 11. Our 10 to 12 was 3. Our 12 to 14 was 1. 14 to 16 was also 1. 16 to 18, a little bit hard to see, was 6. You can use a ruler along this if you want to just line it up and make sure that you can see the exact number. So that was 7. 18 to 20 is 1, and finally 20 to 22 is 4. So there's all our different values for our histogram. So that's the first step. The next thing we have to be able to do is to actually draw our own histogram. So to draw our own histogram, we're going to take a look at this question here. So here it says, a class of 25 students were surveyed to find out how many WhatsApp messages were sent in a particular week, and the results are shown below. So we have our table, we have our frequency, that's the number of students, and we have the note underneath saying 30 to 50 means less than 30, or means at least 30 but less than 50. So you're including 30 but not the 50, going all the way up to 50. So the number of messages there is 0 to 30 is 1 person, 30 to 50 is 2, 50 to 70 is 10 people, 70 to 100 is 7 people, and 100 to 160 is 5 people. So if I wanted to draw this on a diagram, the diagram that I'm going to pick, because it's 0 to 30, 30 to 50, if that little dash is there at the top, that's called continuous data. It means the number of messages could have been anywhere between 0 and 30 or 30 and 50. So what you're doing there is, if you see that little dash, you're making, you're drawing your histogram. So that when you draw it, you draw your 2 lines either side, you put your scale going up the top, that's the number of students. So the number of students goes up the top, and the number of messages goes on the bottom, 0 to 30, 30 to 50, 50 to 70, 70 to 100, and 100 to 160. That's each of those on the top there. And then you draw in your bars. You make sure the bars are equally spaced so that there's no spaces in between, but each of them are the same width. So they're probably about 3 centimeters or 2.5 centimeters each on those. And that's it done. You need to make sure that you label your sides as well. So the 0 to 10 is going to be your number of students, and then on the bottom will be number of messages.